Hello, everyone, and welcome to Makai-World Reviews. This is episode number 71, and I am the Tono Makaya, or Demon Peaks, whatever you may know me as. And this month, yes, I'm doing another theme month. I did a vaguely Lovecraftian one last month and Takashi Miike month at the beginning of the year. This month, I'm doing one not about a director, but about an actor, Mr. Harry Dean Stanton, an actor I love and appreciate. And today we start out with one that he may not be wildly known for, but does have a bigger role in it than I think most people would assume. And that is Escape from New York. I also really like this film. I want to talk about it, so that's part of my excuse. Now, I've blithered on enough. Let's get to the movie. Before we begin, and you know this was coming, please like, please subscribe. I'm a small YouTuber trying to grow. I can only do that with your help. So go on, do it now. Escape from New York, directed by John Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter's success is wildly disproportionate to his talent. Most of his films have not been critical successes, but a good portion of them are, thankfully, now seen as cult classics and respected in the fashion they should be. Of course, he's probably most well known for Halloween, but he's also done Dark Star, The Thing, which I consider to be the greatest horror film of all time, Big Trouble in Little China, They Live, In the Mouth of Madness, and much, much more. I am a fan. Written by John Carpenter and Nick Castle. I talked about Mr. Carpenter already. Nick is a director in his own right, known for, Dennis the Menace, the movie, Major Pain, starring Damon Wayans, which everybody in my generation for some reason holds in some kind of regard, and a few other things. I'm going to go ahead and say that I am most proud that he worked on an episode of Mama's Family. Love Mama's Family. Starring Kurt Russell, legendary actor here. I mean, he was a child actor of sorts. His father was an actor. He was an intelligent, good-looking, multifaceted guy. Still is. And was absolutely destined for greatness. While not a tour de force himself in the acting world, he has found consistent work over the years, staying in the upper B-grade movies for most of his career, with movies like The Imperial War, Tennis Shoe, Tango and Cash, Backdraft, Tombstone, Stargate, The Fantastic Bone Tomahawk. He's working with Marvel for Guardians of the Galaxy, Quentin Tarantino for both The Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and is going to be in the next Fast and the Furious film, F9. Who's have really gotten away from their naming scheme, huh? And of course, Harry Dean Stanton, man of the month as it were, actor, musician, all-around good guy, has been acting since the mid-50s and really didn't stop until he died. He was in such notable films as Cool Hand Luke, Kelly's Heroes, Alien, Death Wish, Paris, Texas, Twin Peaks, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Green Mile, and so much more. Man was a triumph to watch, act, and I've never heard a crossword about him. Release date for this was January 10th, 1981, what came out the same week, Fox and the Hound. Another Kurt Russell film, though wildly different in tone. A fun film with Kurt and Mickey Rooney as well, who are the respective Fox and Hound. I enjoyed this as a kid. It's been years since I've seen it. Maybe I'll show it to my daughter. I don't know. And Arthur. You know, I might get a little grief from this, but I don't like this movie. I really don't like Dudley Moore's foppish, befuddled nature. I just don't like the movie. I know it's some manner of classic, but it's not for me. There are worse films to watch and worse things with Liza Minnelli in them, but there's also Arrested Development, so I can just watch that. Now on to the plot. In the future, the year 1988, New York, Manhattan really, has been cut off from the civilized world and turned into an ultra prison. Just prisoners doing their prisoner thing. If you go to New York, you don't ever come out. By 1997, this is the way things have been for some time, with warlords setting up shop all across Manhattan Island. Air Force One is taken by a terrorist cell, and President Blowfield Loomis ends up in New York, and in the hands of the Duke of New York, and he is a number one. The president also has an important briefcase with him. He was taken to a peace conference. There's no time for a long-term hostage situation, so the government has a plan. Send in former Special Forces commander turned criminal by the name of Snake Plissken. He's given a full pardon, some James Bond-level weaponry, and an injection of microscopic bombs that will kill him in 24 hours, unless he commits the task, giving him some serious incentive. So in Snake Goes, where he meets the usual you'd find in New York, roaming bands of assholes, though I think this version does look a little cleaner in New York. But he finds some friends in the cabbie who drives a cab, and Brain and Maggie, who have plenty of inside information, as well as a connection to the Duke. Snake seemingly rescues the president, but of course this leads to a double cross, where Brain and Maggie turn on Snake, hand him over to the Duke. Snake is then put in a ring for entertainment, where they are sure will be killed, but Snake overcomes his enemy with the help of Brain and the rest of his friends. And they escape with the president and attempt to flee the city as the government begins to move in. Leads to a final showdown on the one bridge out of the city, where Maggie, Brain, Cabby, and the Duke are all killed. Snake and the president escape, and it's revealed Snake has replaced a tape the president was going to use for his big speech with one from Cabby's collection, some big band music. As Snake walks off, a free man in a world without freedom. Now let's talk about this movie. I love this movie without any question. It's an absolute action classic. I'm not going to do a pros con because I simply do not have enough bad things to say about it. Though I do have a few criticisms and critiques, but let's go over a few points on what I think. Snake Plissken, Kurt Russell, is absolutely iconic. He's so cool. He's the epitome of a badass here. And you know, this sort of lost something in movies now where every action star is totally untouchable. No, Snake gets hurt, he gets injured, he puts up a real fight. He deals with things not just in a physical way. He runs from fights when he has to. He's smart and cunning and tough. And the eye patch is perfect. You know, he's the inspiration for Big Boss, Venom, etc. And Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid, the whole franchise. With Snake in the games going by Iroquois Plissken once. I believe it's in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's such a shame we never got more Snake Plissken media. There are some comics which cover a range of stories about Snake escaping from this or that, and a crossover with Big Trouble in Little China, which are all okay, but not great. And of course, the second movie, Escape from L.A., which is pretty garbage, but I do need to rewatch that. Beyond that, the other cast members all did a great job. Harry Dean Stanton, Donald Pleasance, Adrian Barbeau, Isaac Hayes, Ernest Borgnine, Frank Doubleday all had memorable parts of the movie as Brain, the President, Maggie, Duke, Cabby, and Romeo, respectively. I think they all had a great feel for their characters. There isn't a ton of dialogue in this film, but even with the limited role they all had, as the focus was very much on Snake, I was impressed with all of them. The action was all nicely choreographed, with the three standout scenes for me being Snake's confrontation with the freaks that live in the sewers. They literally swim up from under the ground for food, taking women Snake is talking to with them. He shoots a bunch of them, but flees from this just psychopathic underground monsters. I mean, it shows the depravity and the depths things have fallen to here. Second being the fight with Ox Baker in the ring. Ox Baker, famous professional wrestler, used to cause riots from his vicious nature. He famously killed Ray Gunkel by accident, and he also helped train The Undertaker, Mean Mark Calloway. Just a good, solid brawl between him and Snake. It was a really fun, hard-hitting, realistic kind of fight. Thirdly being the chase scene at the end, with Maggie and the President both getting emotional arcs here. The ending with the president being so cold, so callous, such a bureaucratic asshole that dismisses the depths of the people who helped save him was great, and paralleled Snake's just utter disgust at the way things are running. Snake getting that last laugh with the tape switch was almost hopeful way to leave things, a little bit of levity in a fairly bleak last act. So my biggest complaint would be a little bit of the pacing, and this is a common issue I have with John Carpenter films. He drags a little bit at the beginning. He did it with They Live, which puts off a lot of people that I show that film, is the first half an hour is really slow. He did it here. It's just not, he's not big into brevity on an open act. It takes almost a half an hour before Snake even gets to New York. And it's almost filled with exposition scenes, just going over things that could have been fleshed out during other parts. I would have loved some of that time to have seen more about the city, about the other people running things. It's implied that it's not just the Duke. There are other gangs and factions. I would have liked to see New York in the daytime a little bit. These are all mild complaints, just things I think could have been used to flesh out the world a bit. On to the soundtrack. It's a mixed bag here. While most of it is general action music, some of it, including the theme song, the opening theme, is a banger, and so is the Duke's theme. It feels like it was a ripoff of Isaac Hayes' music here, which I love because Isaac Hayes plays the Duke. It's a welcome piece of the film that really does lend itself to helping add to the overall experience. And speaking of overall, this is a movie that is absolutely worth a watch. I feel like I went over most of why, from Snake being a badass to the general kind of fun film it is, to it having a pretty good political message in that the government sucks and the president hates you. Escape from New York is a romp that I really would say most people would get at least a kick out of. I usually relate films to if they would be good to drink to, and this one is a perfect drinking movie with some friends, or by yourself, if you are as sad as I am. That was Escape from New York, the first week in my Harry Dean Stanton month. This was the least Harry Dean Stanton movie of the month, but it's a movie I really liked. I want to talk about it, as I said before. So it was an easy intro. What do you think of my review? Do you like this movie? Do you think that there should have been other places Snake escaped from? Let me know down below. Also, let me know what places you would like to see Snake escape from. Also, please get on my Patreon to let me know what you want me to review. Subscribe to my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast. Add me on Instagram at Demon Peaks for daily Twin Peaks memes. Next week, you look at, of course, another Harry Dean Stanton film, and one of his last, in Lucky. This has been the Tony Makai, a master of minds and men. Thank you very much, and goodbye.